pay, and then maybe, I'll say a break. I'm open to whatever the board wants to do. I think it was valuable for Stacy to get the training she got from Sarah. Anytime you train in a new position, you're not gonna be perfect at it, it's gonna take long. So, Stacy and I have had a lot of text messages back and forth.
Yes, we have. We've gotten very friendly.
So that's perfectly fine. Someone wants to make a motion on it?
I'm good either way. It's kind of more consensus to the board. I was thinking like when we hire new people at the store and the grill, we pay them the training, and we don't pay them a discounted rate. So, I guess I don't necessarily have an opinion either way. So I'm fine either way. Whatever the board wants to do, if we want to approve it as presented and then approve disbursements.
I'm fine with that if that's what you want to do. Someone would like to make a motion on it?
This is Jara, and I move that we, okay, the disbursement says presented, including the training pay for Stacy Busby.
I make that motion to take care of both 6-2 and 6-3. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the training pay for our new town clerk for May, as well as the disbursement. Seconded by Corey. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Jerry, you may have to move Mike a little closer.
Yeah. But as I was told, that it hadn't on the
Over at the rate,
What's that?
the pay rate,
The pay rate was at the 31.25. That is the pay rate for the town clerk over and above the 12.50 a month, 40 hours.
thank you.
All right, 6-4. 6-4 is discussed with possible action, the posting of the town attorney vacancy. Just to clear everybody in. We received a letter of resignation from our town attorney on May 22nd. I'm not going to read the whole letter to everybody, but it's basically because of as his military career and his district attorney position progressed, he doesn't have the capacity to continue to represent the town. So with his resignation, the board would need to vote to approve to post for the position. Let's start, I guess, with any comments they might have.
Hard to operate without legal advice.
I would concur with that. So I do have another idea on it, which besides posting, that I think we could act on too. Not only would we post it, saying it goes to the newspaper, might go back and ask Sarah where else we posted it in the past, just for some advice there where we posted it. But I know before we hired Mr. Bookner, we had 3 other attorneys that had expressed interest in the town attorney position. So I would recommend we might send a letter from the town to those 3 attorneys to see if they might be interested again, in addition to the posting.
I'd agree with that. Just concurrent and post it and shout to the previous applicants. How long ago was that? Any idea? I don't know.
I'm gonna guess 2 years.
Okay.
All right. Tom, you got any comments?
No, I think that's a grand idea. We gotta post it, and we might as well reach out to those who got already expressed an interest as well, so, yes, I think you're correct.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to post the town attorney vacancy and can currently reach out to previous applicants.
This is Tom, I'll second that.
All right, got a motion from Corey, a second from Tom. To post the town attorney vacancy and reach out to the three applicants for the pass. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. 6-5, discuss with possible action, posting the board of trustee vacancy. So on May 21st, we received a letter from Ramon Reed that he was to complete, the letter was to convey his resignation from the position of trustee on the Pitkin Board of Trustees effective May 21st. So with that, we now have a vacancy that would fill his seat for the remainder of this term until April 2026. I'd like to see a board of 5 members rather than just 4. So I totally favor posting for the board of trustees vacancy.
Me too. What else is there?
Yeah, this is Jara. Are you ready for a motion? I move that we ask the town clerk to post, according to protocol, the vacancy for board of trustee, please.
This is Ed, I'll second that. Oh, okay, we got a motion, we got a second to post board of trustee vacancy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Then to 6-6. Discuss with possible action appointing Josh Ackerman to the zoning board, and I see that Mr. Ackerman is online. So we have a vacancy in the zoning board open to fill. I don't remember now for sure the term. I think it's through next April, I believe, but I have to double check those. Gayla's position. And so I guess I'll start with Josh, if you'd like to say something.
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Oh,
I'm not sure why that's coming here, but
that's not coming. Oh, we
Can
lost.
you guys hear me?
oh no.
It's probably coming up there loud.
Yes, it is.
I can hear you guys.
I have a word for it.
Okay, Josh, give it a shot again.
All right, you got me now?
Still coming out.
Nope, still no.
Mic on?
You're coming out of just my laptop instead of the main speaker.
What's coming out here?
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
Trying to connect to your laptop.
Microphone access on. See, is it something over here?
Does it show the speaker?
Should I try to connect to my phone or something like that? Or am I a different way?
No, Josh, I think it's on our.
It's our-
little
yeah.
mic,
Susie said she can hear me.
and it should come back on and connect, but it doesn't look like it is. Stacy, could you hold the mic right to your speaker?
Yes. I can try. All right.
Go
Talk
ahead.
and we'll try to find you.
If you can find it.
Okay, well, I think everybody knows me for the most part, but I'm talking on Wi-Fi right now because I've turned all my internet stuff in, so I am on the road tomorrow, headed to Pitkin. So I got 4 stops with the 3 little kids and the 2 dogs, but I will be there soon enough. And so I'm obviously currently serving as the Parks and Rec commissioner for the town, and I saw this position open up and thought I would volunteer. So I know me and Ed talked, and I will be in town full time starting this Friday. So
All right, I know probably a lot of people in the room didn't hear everything that you said, and probably people on Zoom did not hear. So Josh has been our Parks and Rec commissioner for almost a year now. He and his wife and their kids have purchased a home May of 2024 here in town. The over on First Street and they remodeled it. My understanding is they've sold their home in Florida and are currently on the move to beautiful Pitkin, Colorado this week. Saying all that, something dawned on me last night, in the middle of the night when I woke up, and it hit me, that by state statute, a zoning board member must be a resident of the municipality that they serve. There is no time requirements of that residency, but they must be a resident. And I talked to Josh this morning, and he conveyed to me that he has not changed his residency as of yet, but his plan was to do that when they got here on Thursday or Friday. So in light of that discovery, I'm gonna recommend that we table that item until July, until Josh has his residency for the town of Pitkin before we approve him to the zoning. That's my recommendation.
Well, fair enough. I'd say if there's a legal requirement that be residency, or have residency here, then we appreciate the willingness to be on the zoning board, but I guess we don't really have much of an option to wait till Josh has that time to further consider it.
And I'll be the first to say I hate to table anything, but I'll be the one to make the motion to table the appointment for a zoning board until the July meeting for Josh Allen.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so we've got a second by myself, excuse me, a motion by myself, a second by Corey, to table to the July meeting. Which gives Josh time to get his residency changed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Item 6-7. Item 6-7. Discuss with possible action a request by the Varnells for cancellation of invoice dated 9/30 of 2024. I will start with Mr. Varnell, if you'd like to speak to this first. And then I'll bring it back to the board, or if you would like for the board to discuss it.
I sent in a letter. Hopefully everybody got to the letter.
Okay, so Chad did send in a letter to the town. I believe it's been distributed to all of the board of trustees and for their review. So I'll open it up to the board to discuss the request and their thoughts on it.
This is Tom, and I read Mr. Barnell's letter a couple times. He includes in there a, for clarity statement, that is most of the birdhouses were within his property. For clarity, he did not include all the details of why he received this invoice that he would like to have go away. Historically, no, that's the wrong word. So the history of this event is Mr. Barnell saw a piece of property, looked it over, liked it, bought it. Found his fence and wanted to install a fence, and that permit was declined. And things kind of rolled on from there.
Can you say why it was declined?
Find it.
Okay, this was declined by the building inspector, which is me. And
Get it ready.
I've got that copy right here, and it says you cannot put a fence in a public right of way.
That's your personal opinion.
Chad, let him speak.
We're not gonna argue, I'm just gonna state the facts here. So the facts are that the, not just this board, but the zoning board, shall act in strict accordance with applicable laws of the state of Colorado. Applicable laws of the state of Colorado include, the following are declared to be public highways, and, there's definitions for that. And that then went to our attorney, who sent a memorandum out to the trustees, which was quite lengthy. But, concludes with conjecture aside, and in any case, the road has been established for well over 50 years, perhaps 75, and thus, Fort Plain right away is a public highway under Colorado statute. And at the very least, has become a town right of way by prescription. So the placement of close-with birdhouses in a public right of way, became a liability and also is against state statute. And, as acting mayor, I was instructed by the attorney to set a deadline, and if that was not met, then to get rid of the post some other way, which is what happened. And Mr. Darnell does not want to pay the towing company for removing those. That's the facts.
Tom, can I ask you on that email from the memorandum from the attorney? Which board of trustees received that?
That came on June 13 of 2024.
From the town attorney?
I'm sorry, say again?
From the town attorney?
Yes. So, I will say, in addition to that, Mr. Darnell did say in his opinion that the person who pulled those posts should be the one to pay for that, and he's entitled to his opinion. Mr. Darnell was requested to remove the post himself. That didn't happen.
You have a specific date on what that was sent.
Well, I don't know what date it was received, but this says June 13, 2024.
I'll say I wasn't privy to any of the previous communications. I'm not privy to the document Tom's referring to regarding public right of ways. Does it define how the town establishes those public right of ways? If we're considering a prescription easement. Does that make sense? How do we define the limitation of this public right of way? Essentially referring to 1-C that all roads over private lands, that's what you have to start by, that have been used adversely without interruption or objection on the part of the owners of such land for 20 consecutive years. And it goes on to state that these are declared to be public highways. Is that what we're referring to in this?
Yes, that's correct.
does this document state anywhere? At some point, the town has to define that road and location. Am I
The,
correct?
the attorney's memo goes into detail about how that could have been done or should have been done, but it doesn't necessarily have to be done. It still is by definition what it is.
I'm not sure that makes a whole lot of sense.
Well,
I'm not following you, Tom.
okay. Well, I don't have to, be the lawyer here.
No, I'm trying to catch up to speed here. Like I said, I haven't been privy to any of this, so.
Well, if you wanted to, table out and let everybody come up to speed a little more, well, that's okay. I think Mr. Barnell would just pay the bill and get on with working in the town of Pitkin. Which seems to be the issue here with the letter. I can't get a job because I owe a bit.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes. Sure, go ahead.
I can't, I'm not finding where I ever received that communication from the attorney, but and I don't have the minutes of the June town council meeting, but I pretty distinctly remember, I think it was in June, when I absolutely asked the attorney if there wasn't a win-win way to address this. And he said more than once, yes, there was a win-win way to take care of this. So we may need more time to pull up some of the back minutes, or, I know the town, we agreed to pay that towing bill because it was for the town, but, I really feel this whole thing was not accomplished according to protocol. And there are some less than savory occurrences that happened around this time. So I could be okay to, so that we could look into this further. So that we all read past minutes and perhaps, the new trustee could catch up also, and
That's gonna be 2 months off. We're gonna post and then I don't know that we necessarily.
well, I'm talking about you.
Oh, okay. This is one of those where it's like, it'd be nice to have an attorney to ask an opinion or ask what the proper process is going forward. Maybe because I'm new to this, I don't fully understand everything, but my biggest issue is I've never seen a legal document that states that that's not Chad's property. And if you're gonna tell him it's not his property, then why can the town not define where is the town right of way and where is Chad's property? You're gonna say you can't put it here because it's not your property, then define where his legal boundary is, so he can set his bird, post, or his fence, or whatever he wants. And I look at this good, the town's failed to do this for 8 months, 9 months. So however long since their original permit. That's the win-win. Why the town couldn't do that for 2 years, I'm unsure of. And I think that's my biggest issue right now. How are we gonna hang our hat on this and say it's our property when we have no legal document? That's why I'd like to ask an attorney, how do you proceed with this? How do you define that? Because maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like it matters if you can say it's your property, so you live in the base, but if there's a legal document that says otherwise, that's the rule of law, right? So I could be wrong.
I have talked to the previous owner of the property as well. And he's told me that they put,
Can't hear you.
The people on Zoom cannot hear when you're sitting there.
And I can
So,
hear.
I'm gonna bring it up on the board, and then I'll open it up. You have some more comments on it, and then open it to the public. But I get a chance to say what I think before I open it up.
One thing, just to add, this was originally, I believe, Charlie McDaniel's property. And then it became, Mike Finley's property. And I would imagine all three of these owners have had a survey, or if not, they were provided a survey when they would purchase the property. It's gonna legally show the same ends, is it not? And that's what maybe I'm wrong, maybe the survey's wrong. But my hard burden on this is to say it's not your property, but we can't define where your property is. And we're saying, the history of evidently is this goes back to a fence permit that was denied. Okay, well, let's define the property then, and then let you build a fence. And I know that's not what this is actually about, it's about the invoice, but I just have a little heartburn over this.
Okay, so here's what I have heartburn with a lot of it. When this whole issue started, way back several years ago, the Board of Trustees went into executive session with the town attorney. At that meeting, only one of the current Board of Trustees was in executive session. We had asked, I know Ramon and myself had asked for a summary of the executive session from the town attorney. Jared had asked to listen to the minutes of the executive session, so since she was not at the meeting, and my understanding is when she listened to the minutes of that executive session, most of it was not audible, except for at the end. So from what she'd said in the previous meeting, she didn't get a lot out of it. Ramon and myself at the time did not hear anything from the town attorney. I'm surprised when Tom was bringing up the memorandum for the attorney, and I've looked through my emails from all of June, and I see nothing about the memorandum from the attorney that I received. I am with Corey in that we don't have anything that defines where the property markers are, except for surveys that have been completed. And then where I really have heartburn is Tom at the time was the mayor pro tem, and Sarah Gibb was our town clerk. And this appeared to be somewhat of a conflict between Sarah and Josiah and the Barnetts. So an invoice was sent to the Barnells from the town for removal of post removal from the town right away on September 30th. The invoice was sent on September 30th, but on October 1st, the letter was handed to the tow truck driver saying that within the town of Pitkin, property owners Chad Starling Barnell have dumped a large pile of debris, tree trunks and branches within the 5-foot setback on Porch Lane, which is town right away. Now, Pitkin is now exercising its authority to remove the debris and clear the right of way. The town of Pitkin has hired Gunnison Towing to complete this action. That letter was on October 1st. The invoice was sent on September 30th. The letter is signed by our previous town clerk of where the conflict was. Unfortunately, my feeling was at that time, our town clerk and our mayor pro tem should have stepped back from the Board of Trustees and had a decision from the Board of Trustees not taking the matter into their own hands to remove 3 posts, 2 of which were in grass, 1 which was in gravel, but all 3 were up within the property line of the survey. So that's where I have an issue with it. The whole situation, in my opinion, was handled improperly. And the town, therefore, should remove this tow bill or this invoice from the property owners. And I'll call it a training exercise for the town on what to do and how things should be done. With that, I will open it up to public comment.
This is Jess Garrett. There's a lot of Paul Harvey rest of the story on this whole episode. Immediately, it came to the zoning board for us to review and to possibly pass a permit to put a fence in with 5 foot setback off Porch Lane. We met and we came up with a compromise. We figured a triangle off of the property that Chad Varnell owns, worked up the square foot, and if my mind is correct, it's 375 square feet. And we proposed to put that in Chad's name off the downstream side of Fifth Street. But because this request was made to us and it touched city property, we voted to do that exchange, but sent it to the trustees to have it examined. Now, where I feel the trustees have really fallen down on this, they did not even interview the other 2 owners, and one of them told me that he had complained about people driving across his property. And our attorney stated very plainly, if there had been no complaints in 18 years, or maybe 17, I can't remember the exact number of years, then it stands. If there had been complaints, then that threw out the 18-year time frame. And I remember very plainly, my wife, Jarek Erickson, asked the attorney if there was another way to resolve this. And he said, yes, there definitely is. And he gave a couple of examples, which was very adamantly by Tom denied. And it came to a vote. And we had a 4-member board with a 2-2 vote, which is pathetic. Therefore, it died. Therefore, it came evident that we had the posts pulled, and my problem is pulling posts that were in the grass. Maybe the 1/4 post that was at 5th and Quartz Lane in the little bit of gravel might have been justified. But I think you need to consider this tremendously seriously. Maybe you can go back and do more research, but you approved to pay it. And if my hearing was right, back at the time that, and Tom, this is a question put to you, at the time the tow truck was there, and you want to know who's going to pay it, and you said that the city didn't pay it, you would. Is that correct?
That is not quite correct.
How far off of correct?
The man was very concerned that he get paid.
Yes.
He wanted to know, am I going to get paid? I said, yes, you will get paid, and you will get paid no matter what, even if I have to do it. Now, here's the thing, Jesse, since you've asked the question. I have been instructed by our attorney, get those out of the road.
The ones in the grass also?
Get
That's
them out
not
of
the
road.
traffic lane.
And so I hired a crew. They came in. Now, who's on the line? The attorney says get them out of the road, but he won't let me do it.
You're the only one that was talking to the attorney.
Well, Chad, you asked. So, that's how it went. You will get paid. You'll get paid no matter what. Doesn't matter which way this goes, you will get paid, and you'll get paid even if I have to do it. Now, I'm willing to put myself on the line because A, it's against state statute. B, it's a liability to the town and the attorney and state both. So, that's what I said. You will get paid no matter what, even if I have to do it. So, that's what I said.
I feel our trustees definitely fell down in this by not researching the 18 years. Now, the quick conclusion, you paid it, bury it, it's done, and there's been no verification that that is city property. So my advice is to trim the trees so we get closer to Quartz Lane. It's actually in 5th Street. Trim the tree and get the gravel off the Varnell property and get the traffic on Quartz Lane. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? Chad, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I still like,
So I'm gonna bring it back up to the board to the front here, then.
Mhm.
Oh, is there anybody out on Zoom? Seeing double.
I don't see any hands.
So one thing I'd like to add, that I didn't say before, is that I guess where I feel like the board of trustees have been let down is that, the tow truck was called by relatives and the person who was involved in the problem. The board of trustees were not consulted on and asked about it. In fact, after it was done and we discussed paying the bill as a board of trustees of disbursements, and we paid the bill, approved the disbursement. The board of trustees weren't even informed that the invoice was sent to the Marnells until last month when Chad put in a bid to assemble the radar signs, and we were sent an email from the town clerk at the time that he had an outstanding bill. So the board of trustees didn't even know that the invoice was sent on. I was under the presumption when we paid the disbursement that it was over and done, and the town was absorbing the cost and we're on down the road. And then to find out months later that we invoiced the property owner, I'm extremely concerned when I get an invoice that's dated September 30th of 2024, and then I get a letter that authorizes it being removed on October 1st of 2024. Typically, the removal would happen first, then there'd be an invoice. And that's where I have some great concern about this whole thing, the way it was invoiced and passed on. Any other comments up here?
Yeah, so Ed, just a point of clarification.
Yep.
Because I was reading the letters today.
Okay.
Let me get it real quick, sorry. The problem on the top. The primary thing is, the invoice is for removal post, and this is just for clarity, removal post. The letter on October 1st is in reference to brush. So I don't know that there's necessarily a timeline issue there. Unless I misread that. Because if I recall, there were two separate incidents, if that's what we're going to call this.
And that I cannot organize that as it was got some towing, I believe, and pulled the post out.
That being said, we have the benefit of hindsight, and it's really easy to go, yep, should have done this, should have done that. In fact, it's after looking over this today, that's what I've written in my notes was basically all the handling of it, and I don't know that it really needs to be hashed out. I think it can be a learning experience. And you chalk it up to maybe poor optics. And I think it reiterates that there's another situation where you might be conflicted personally, financially, or even the appearance of. Bring it to the board, what does it hurt? And like in this situation, I don't know that the poles or birdhouse posts, whatever we're gonna call them, created any sort of like physical harm or emergency. And it could have been as simple as like, we need to have a special meeting to discuss this. And I think maybe that's the takeaway, but I look at it and go, the town just kind of has to eat this, in my opinion.
Mr. Mayor,
Just for
I do not recall at the time we approved paying that towing bill that we were told we should be reimbursed. Am I remembering that?
I have the same recollection. We weren't told we should be reimbursed.
So perhaps instead of as Mr. Nasso said, rehashing this, we did agree to pay it, but this month was the first I realized that we were pressing, to be reimbursed on this invoice. So, I'll have a change of opinion, instead of thinking we need more time at the table, that has been stated, as has been stated just now. Let's learn from this and move on.
Any other comments?
Well, I've listened to a lot of opinions. And so I will give you my opinion. And my opinion is that this was all legit. Mr. Barnhouse had never planted those posts where he did. He refused to move them. They were subsequently moved. The attorney was quite clear. And I'm sorry he didn't get a memorandum. Beats me. Why am I the only one with a copy of it?
They do an inside job.
Chad, please.
So, that being said, we had no attorney. And I hate kicking cans just like you do. But I'm going to tell you, this is one of those deals where I think we need an attorney. And it's not necessarily because of the money, but it is because, thank you, Chad, you whispered quite nice. It is because what is considered a public road in the state of Colorado is a long-standing statute. Has been revised multiple times. It's proposed in, I think, 1873, and it still stands pretty much the same. Driving over a period of time creates a road. I don't know what it does to property lines or pins. I do know that when you go out and you drive some of these trails that we have out here, you will cross people's property where you will see signs down the road, private property both sides. Why is that road there? That road's there because it's always been there. And it's a public road across someone's property. You kind of got the same thing. I'm not going to tell you it's not your property. I will say it's a public road. That's what I have come to understand from talking with the attorney and reading. So I'd say, let's kick this king. Let's get an attorney, and then Chad can find out which way he needs to go.
So I'm gonna disagree, but hear me out. There's two issues here. There's defining his property line and the town right away, and there's canceling this invoice. Those are two separate issues at this point. I don't know that we need an attorney to tell us whether we want to cancel that or not. Maybe legal advice on how to proceed. I don't disagree with that. But I'm sure at some point Chad would like to know if we're gonna stay, that's town right away, that's town property, where does his actual property line exist? Probably be nice. So I'd agree there. We should probably ask some legal advice, but kicking the can down the road on canceling or not canceling this invoice, I don't think that's necessary tonight.
So
I'll say that matter. I do not have an issue with that part. I do have an issue with the what constitutes public right of way.
And I guess I agree with Corey there. I don't think that's the debate. That's not the item that's on the agenda. The item on the agenda is to discuss a request of cancellation of the invoice. And based on what I've seen on that road, the way it was, my opinion, it should have been brought to the Board of Trustees and not just handled by one or two people that are either family members or involved in the dispute. The optics is not good. So,
well, let me just address optics for just a second. And Jesse brought this up. But one of these things was we will take this piece of property up here. We'll take a chunk out of one of our streets. And, we will call this a trade. And I have never been in favor of chunking out streets. I've never been in favor of, what's that called when you let them go and half goes down? I've never been in favor of abandoning any town property or vacating, just on principle. We've had several that have come up over the years and they didn't happen, and, I think the town needs to conserve everything it's got, and one of these days when, you start trying to run a little more upscale and higher tech water lines and gas lines and sewer lines and so forth, you're gonna need every inch of property we've got. Can't have chunks out of it. So now here's where I'm headed with that. I voted against that. Yes, I did. If I had been solely in favor of what is of advantage to the people down there on the corner that you so eloquently defined as what was it, relatives? I would have voted for that because it would have been greatly to their benefit. But that's not my job to benefit just people just because, oh, it's a nice benefit. My job is to look out for the town. We don't chunk up streets. So that's my speech on that.
So Tom, I recall at that meeting, I did a presentation right up on that screen up there of several possible options that we could resolve that whole situation with. One of those was the land swap, of which you voiced that you were totally against. What was not taken into account was the simple solution of put the road back where it belongs by trimming the tree branches up 12 to 13 feet so vehicles could get down Porch Lane like they should be able to. And even the town attorney had said there are several options that the town could do with the situation. And 3 of them were presented that night. And with a vote of 2-2, the land swap was taken out and the trimming the trees wasn't even considered. And I'm gonna go back to that stand right there.
Okay.
The simple solution for this whole thing was to trim the trees up and put the road back where it belongs. So I'm gonna go back to the bullet point 6-7, and that is to the request to cancel the invoice.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
because this invoice has already been paid by the town of Pitkin. And that's what the bullet point is tonight. Are you ready to hear a motion?
I am.
The sheriff. And I move that we cancel the invoice dated. What is it? September 30th. For the sign removal. I make a motion that we cancel that invoice.
I'll second it.
We've got a motion and a second to cancel invoice of 9/30/2024 for post removal. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
All opposed?
There you go. And that will be me.
May I make a suggestion now?
Yes. You may make it.
Yes, Garrett, we still have 2 speed radar signs sitting in the pavilion that are just dry rotting.
That's coming up.
Yes. So
That's our next bullet.
I would like you to also realize that there's no outstanding bill against one of the bidders. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to 6-8. Discuss with possible action the ordering of the red flashing stop signs. I know at our last meeting it was brought up, there was concern about CDOT and if we could put red flashing stop signs up. It was brought up, I believe, by Ramon, our town attorney, that said that he was gonna try to get some information from CDOT. Did we receive any emails for the town clerk, from the town attorney?
No, we did not.
I did not see any.
And I'm gonna show my ignorance here. Can somebody give me some background on where this came from? I assume this is the stop signs at night.
Yeah, these are both stop signs at Ninth and State Street from both directions. Like Ramon Reed had brought up the concern of putting the red LED flashing stop signs up might be an issue with CDOT.
I know, but I guess the original issue, putting those up, where, I guess this kind of,
It would replace the two stop signs that are currently there. And they were to, at that meeting when it was discussed, it was greatly encouraged that the flashing stop signs only flash during the day. And the whole intent was try to get people to stop at those two stop signs instead of as we constantly see people flying through.
was this brought to the town by anybody, or was this just kind of a, hey, consensus, we need to cover this? Or, I just don't know the history here, I'm not gonna get up to speed here.
Both. It's been brought up from citizens and the board was aware, I think all of us were aware of perhaps anything that might increase the safety there. And then the biggest thing was the attorney wasn't sure, and we're just CDOT, but also we don't need them to flash all night long. And I don't think they included any in their research, did we?
There weren't any
That you can
specifically,
program.
they weren't any specifically found, but with some solar switches, but we had some people in town that could turn those off at night.
I guess my question is gonna be is, so the goal is to get people to pay attention to the stop signs that have been there forever. And have to get people to stop. And I don't know where we're gonna go with this, I'm not opposed to them. But I've spent a lot of time on the corner of 9th Street there, watching people blow through stop signs. And I can tell you the biggest offenders are locals, they've been here much longer than me. Do you think adding a flashing red light is gonna make those people stop? And what is the increase in people that we're gonna get to stop? Maybe it's significant. I guess where I'm going with this, I'm not entirely convinced that it's the best course of action or best way to spend money. I can tell you several years ago, I don't remember, it's probably been 6-7 years ago. I think it was Randy and Lisa painted white stripes in front of stop signs. Relatively low cost, and it would blow your mind how many people stop. And my question is this something we need to go down the rabbit hole with red lights and flashing lights, or do we pursue going, hey, maybe there's a cheaper option? I'm just, because I don't know the whole background here. I'm just hesitant that putting flashing red lights around the stop signs is gonna get any sort of significant increase. People know they're there, they just ignore them. And I guess you could make the same argument for the stripes, but I've seen that work.
So I'll add your comments, Corey. I think it was 2 years ago when I think Jess and I got a gallon of white paint stripe. I was surprised at the number of people that seemed to pay more attention. I'm not opposed to the red flashing stop signs, something that would get people's attention. Unfortunately, we're in the middle of June already. We're looking at roughly $750 per sign, $1,500. Realistically, will we get those signs within the next month? I don't know. Will we get them up until the next 6 months? I don't know. We still have 2 radars that have been sitting underneath the pavilion over there for 2 years. So I can go either way on this. I would say if we make a determination that red flashing stop signs are going to get people to stop, I think we're late in the year already to put them up. But I don't know, $100 versus $1,500. Shorter, maybe get the old geezers on the porches and baseball bats might work too.
My only problem with the white lines, and I also, I do not work at the Flynn, but I loiter there. And oh, it is the locals, I'm telling you, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's big. But and I've seen the white stripes work, but the paint doesn't say. That's it, you know. So I'm not opposed to putting white stripes on there, and somebody just did it and got it done a few years in a row, and it works while they're there. And, yes, I think we're too late in the year. Last time, I think we were waiting on CDOT maybe and an opinion from the attorney, so probably we won't.
Well, and like I said, admittedly, I'm going into this not knowing the history or the reasoning why. And just kind of one of those like, is it really worth spending money on when, you know, there's people that are aware that the stop signs are there and they still ignore them every day, so. I'm just not entirely sure that this is the best expenditure of funds. To try to get people to stop. I don't know what the answer is, but, you know. It's definitely a mix. So I've watched my wife make dirt bikes go back to the stop sign and stop. Before she left the gate gas, so.
It's honestly, what you send your son back. So I'm gonna add one more thing. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to the public comments. The only thing I would like to add on white stripe is every year, the white stripe keeps getting shorter and shorter as I lose asphalt. So I'll open it up to public comments, your thoughts on getting red flashing stop signs for Main Street.
I don't really think the lights are gonna do much, but I love the concern of everyone on the panel here as far as people not stopping when on the other end of town. I've asked for stop signs at Second and Main Street because people are doing 50 and 60 miles an hour through there. And it's completely ignored. So time well spent would probably be thinking about adding additional stop signs in town to control some speed. I just wish people would slow down. I don't even give a crap if they stop. So that's my thought.
If someone else came in. So.
This is Cindy Hatwood. Anybody who rents from me, when I stop and greet them, I always remind them, please stop at the 2 stop signs. There by the Silver Plume, because we have a lot of kids and all that around there, and we just want to make sure that nobody gets hurt up there. So anybody I talk to when they come in, I always remind them to stop there. So I'm trying to help.
Thank you.
Well, the Jesse James Street Commissioner, yes, on my proposals for the 2025 year, I did suggest the red flashing stop signs. And your trustee panel approved it at the time, and then sent me to get more information on prices and the like. And I did that, presented it to the panel, and that's when the flashing light in the daytime versus nighttime came up. And my memory's right, we instructed our clerk at the time to go to this company that they had approved and find out if the computer on the stop sign itself that could be shut off at night automatically. And as far as I know, there was zero follow-up on that. But anyway, and I want to correct one thing, Mr. Pinalto. Mr. Nassau paid for that white paint you and I put on there. But we rode the blue and pink. Thank you, Chris.
Sorry to step on your toes there, Jess. It's not a bad idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. Just
Is there anyone on Zoom that has their hands up? I can't see.
No.
All right, okay, no one there.
Nope.
I don't see anybody else here running up to the podium. To keep things moving, let's bring it back up to the board. Is there any further discussion you want to take on here? Do we want to move forward with this? Do we want to not move forward with flashing stop signs, but maybe instruct our street commissioner to do the white stripes? Where do you want to go?
Well, this is Tom, and I've been listening here to everybody, and Corey has been quite informative. If the white stripe has been effective to some degree, then I suggest we get after that one right away. As far as the stop signs, we've not nailed that down yet, doesn't sound like, as far as what exactly we would want. And I don't have a axe to grind here at all, other than people need to stop up there. And so if white stripes help at all, then I think we need to paint stripe 3 times a year. So that would be one suggestion. As far as the stop signs, replacing those with flashing lights, I don't know. As far as Jake's comment about people flying down the street, he's absolutely right. The issue with replacing existing stop signs was, in our attorney at the time's opinion, not an issue. The issue with placing signs where they have not been, it was his opinion that needed to be run past CDOT. So, but if we're going to do this, is there no reason we shouldn't take that approach? Was kind of, and so that's my 2 cents. And you guys do what you want with it.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with Tom. So since when the street commissioner surely doesn't need a motion to paint the white like he's done in the past, or whomever volunteers or whatever. But I would like this down the road. This winter, let's get this confirmed so that next summer we don't end up in the middle of the summer already. So get it settled and get our opinion from CDOT if that's what we need. See what we think about, but let's get this done for next summer, please. Yay or nay, one or the other. And also on that same, if we can put it on further future agendas, look into stop signs or something for the cross traffic there at Second and Main, please.
So because we haven't already discussed the possible action, we can either table it or we can put it to a target agenda for another month or for a different month. How far down do you want to go?
Well, on that front, can we authorize some stripes from paint across the road in conjunction with paving the rest of it?
I think we can either authorize it or we can ask Jesse to go out.
Just tell the street commissioner, go for it.
I'm afraid to tell him to get it done, because he might have it done before we get out of here.
Yeah, I think we can take it off.
Yeah, I'd say table it, but I mean, like I said, just my opinion, it's my experience that the white stripes are a pretty low tech solution, and it does causes, I mean, it's cheap, it's low tech, and it's causes a very obvious change in traffic pattern. I heard one say that. People stop at the white stripe because it's new, probably.
Yeah, I know the 2 years that we painted them after they were down for a little while. They started to brown out and the stopping became less frequent.
So the same locals that can't see the stop signs definitely don't see the white stripes either. But
Maybe those locals that run it just paint the white stripe like they have to run. Fresh coat.
$1 in the pot for replacement.
So So I see Ricky up there. I'll let Ricky say something.
Could you acquire some of the regular CDOT tape that they use, maybe at a reduced price for something that would last a little bit more permanent in that spot? I know the asphalt is chipping back. And, you know, it just takes a torch and heating it up after you clean the asphalt and put it down, so somebody won't have to paint it 3 or 4 times a summer.
I think it's something we could look at with the county, see if they could provide it for them.
Yeah, Ricky, I'm not familiar with the tape, but I've seen like the striping stuff, that's basically the big pellets they put in melt. You know, the truck.
Yeah, they've got-
Raise it. I mean, maybe something to consider, but I think paint's something that can be done tomorrow or the day after or whatever.
Instead of just saying.
No, I agree, there might be a long-term solution, it's maybe a little more effective than, but, I don't think it's a bad idea since summer's fixing to be upon us. I'm sure everybody's noticed the increase in traffic, so. Yeah, whatever, I don't even know what paint costs nowadays, but yeah, probably.
2 things, we've looked at rumble strips and they're not good for wintertime snow removal.
No,
And the white paint on the pavement or whatever with snow is not safe. So just put that in pipes.
How does white paint work on dirt?
Don't
not
know.
well. So here's what I'm gonna suggest. We'll have our street commissioner go ahead and do some white stripes for the time being. And I think we can all kind of monitor it to see what it looks like if people are stopping. I would like to see us table, I'd like to go to a specific month if we can, we bring it back up. But I am 100% behind not only looking at what's happening in Ninth and State, but what's happening in Second and Main Streets as well. So do we have a month that we want to table that to, and then I'm gonna give our new town clerk a challenge.
All right.
So this, and I'm not opposed to putting one to a specific month, but, at the same time, I would like to go ahead and peel out CDOT on.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Right now and then.
I would suggest next fall, how about October?
I'd like next month, I just see some information right here that you've got to consider.
Be here on the 24th.
So I'd like you to table it to next month's meeting so we can get this going. Looks very inviting.
Do you want to table it to July?
Sure.
Is there, so I guess, do we have a contact at CDOT to ask these questions of?
That,
I don't know that we do.
Just if we, yeah, Mr. Garrettson, I'm sorry, can I ask a direct question, because you know the guys down here at the county, so do I know some of them. But we could ask Sparky, or we could ask, Mike, we could ask them, who should we talk to, would they know the answer to that probably?
Sparky or Mr. Schmidt should both know.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure the guys at the county probably can tell you. You know,
Who, yeah.
but if not who, they can probably tell you already the requirements, you know, but. Yeah, I guess that's
So,
probably a good start. Is the
This is more work for you, Jesse. Could you ask your question?
Sure. I'll call him tomorrow and see if I meet with him Wednesday.
That'd be fun.
so someone want to make a motion to table this to
This is Jared, and I vote we table this bullet point to next month, I guess.
second?
I'll second that motion.
We got a motion and a second. The table, the street, or stop sign, Ninth and State. And look at Second and Main Street, and then, Jesse will do some checking on CDOT if we can. And we'll take it up to July then. We'll get you some more information. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye. 6-9, discuss with possible action bids for assembling radar signs. My understanding is we have 2 radar signs that have been under the pavilion for almost 2 years. We've had a bid, I believe, from Mr. Varnell to assemble those signs and place those signs where the town would like them placed. If I recall properly, that bid was for $500 per sign. Mr. Varnell, am I speaking accurately? What I had in my notes.
These are stationary signs? Or are they mobile?
Yes,
The radar signs,
Radar signs.
are they stationary or are they
Stationary.
mobile?
They're stationary.
Okay,
They're permanent, like basically like the one in the top town, one at the bottom town.
okay.
So does the board need to decide where we want to place those signs, or do we want to leave that up to our street commissioner?
Do we, one quick question, I'm getting up to speed on this. Do we have an official bid?
Yes, we have, it's actually a quote, that Mr. Barnell's emailed to the town.
Okay, yeah, it was prior to my time, so I did that.
Yeah, it works.
Okay,
And on anything less than $5,000, it takes the quote.
I email one to the town.
You did as well?
Well,
I haven't received
How
that.
long ago was that?
Right in that last meeting.
So in the month of May?
I think it was that night or the next meeting.
We'll give Stacy just a moment, see if she can. Locate that,
yeah, I'm looking.
because I haven't seen.
Okay, May.
And I haven't seen these just, so they're ready to go, like, not ready, obviously, but you assemble them, do you have the posts and everything for them, was that included? I don't know.
All we have is what the clerk ordered, and I'm not aware of any posts,
Okay,
and I don't even know if batteries are any good. They may have frozen, broke. I have no clues. I just did not want to tackle the technical side of it and. Right.
I guess where I was asking for clarification is like, how ready can they be when they're put together, like, are we gonna?
I was gonna
Yes, sir.
cut a tree down and put it in the tree on the thing, or the town can supply the post and I'll install it and I'll drill it, the whole 9 yards.
For that $500. Okay, and like I said, I haven't seen the quotes, I don't know what all it entails, but where I'm going is like, can we get it done before it gets busy?
What is
And it
the
sounds
name?
like probably
It says
yes.
Todd Adams. Okay, okay. Okay, I knew that. Could I just ask a question, Todd? Can you tell me what email you sent that from? Because I'm not seeing anything from you.
Yeah,
Complaint items.
Acquiesce to him and I'll pay together.
I'm not seeing an email, so, but I'm open to receiving one.
Okay. So we'll basically leave it as the one. Quote. All right, do we want to take action on it then?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we accept the one quote that we received for the assembly of the existing radar signs that are still in the box at the pavilion, 2 of them.
All right, I have a motion and a second.
Prior to seconding, can I just ask another question? The funding for this, does it come from the streets fund or is this a general fund? I assume streets, correct? So
That's my understanding.
$1,000 from the streets fund.
That would be my understanding.
Okay.
The streets paid for them.
Okay, just asking you that that's not.
One more question. So, when our, signs begin to be put together, we will know then what type exactly of post is needed, and then you will let us know, and somebody will collect that and bring it to you, and you will drill it and fix it. I mean, because, you know, there's square tubing and there's round pipe.
Do you want to volunteer to help? Well,
Not necessarily.
Get the flag committee around.
okay, do you trust that our street commissioner and his assistant have done good decisions with the ditches this year?
I have enjoyed the
Okay.
decisions with the ditches this year.
Yes,
That would be a yes.
okay, well, and
Okay.
And the only reason I'm asking, that's, Jesse, that's not gonna put you in a position, right?
Pardon?
$1,000, I don't know if this has already been allocated and we're just.
We're just on supposed here.
No,
Well, no, but I mean, $1,000, this isn't gonna put you in a position from a budget standpoint, correct?
oh, we've already blown the budget.
So, yeah, so what I'm gonna bring up here is that we've got to look at our street budget and our street expenses. We approved some road base earlier. I have no doubt we're probably over that budget of the number of loads that we approved, the board of trustees approved. We will need to more than likely do a resolution of where we're at on the street budget. And I didn't see on the disbursements, any additional rocks that was billed or paid. So I don't know what that means. Everything's has definitely come in.
I need to get with Stacy and make sure that the suppliers,
Okay,
because I've got receipts.
okay. Right, yeah, so we make, one of them, make sure we pay, but I'm relatively certain we're over on the street budget.
Yes.
Based on our budget of 15,000 and.
Okay. I, didn't mean to derail the motion, it was just understanding where the funding's coming from and that we're not putting Jess in a hard spot by spending this money per quarter. Yeah, but they've got plans, so I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Accept the quote for $500 per sign, for 2 signs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. 6-10. Okay. Corey's informed me in a second.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna move on to 6-10. Discuss with possible action, Met Rec transfer to the town of Pitkin. So to, I guess, give everybody a synopsis, Met Rec has decided to shut down the over-the-air television transponders. effective June 1st for the town of Pitkin, and I guess what they call the western, the east-west,
Yeah, the east-west.
east-west, and then from Gunnison to Crested Butte, they're gonna shut down, I believe sometime in 2026. We were the first ones to be shut down, imagine that, by MetRec. They're gonna they will decommission the transponders. They have asked, before they start the removal and demolition, if the town of Pitkin would like the ownership of the equipment that's on the building site. The property itself is on the town of Pitkin. There's a building, an antenna. There are 4 transponders that are on that tower. That's what their email to us was, if we wanted the equipment or we wanted them to decommission it and take it down.
And can you clarify that location?
So yes, that location is north of Main Street. At the end of town, if you look up to the right, there's 3 buildings up there. One's an outhouse, one's a shed that is not on town property. Just to the west of it is a building with an antenna tower, and that is the transponder location. So that's what the request is. I'll give you a little bit of what I found out, and then I believe Jared might have found out a little bit as well. And I don't know if on the recording I can chance on it, but I just went up to the site to take a look at the building to see what was there. There is a nice tower. Good night, Weston. There's a nice tower up on the property. There are 4 transponders. I don't have in front of me the brand of the transponders, but I did look those up to see what they would cost if we would have to replace them. They're currently sell for around $1,450 a piece. There's 4 of them. The building itself is in dire need of repair. The door on the building itself was replaced with an interior door that's totally fallen apart. I have no idea what's inside that building, other than I know there's some electronics equipment, because I can hear the cooling fans running, which also means there's a power bill every month that's associated with that building. What I don't know is the signal that we receive for that transponder and where it goes to, if or when those signals will be decommissioned. And then we might be stuck with some equipment. My opinion, what I saw was we have very dated equipment up there that looks like MetRec is trying to get us to take over for them, so they don't take it down. And then sometime we're probably gonna take it down, or we're gonna spend some money for over-the-air transponder. That's a little bit of research that I did on it. I believe Jira said she talked to some folks with MetRec as well.
Jesse and I this winter attended a couple of MetRec meetings about these decommissioning these transponders, which didn't give you any hope. And I'll tell you, it's an expensive deal. This tower, okay, so we get back, they're gonna decommission them by June 1st. We get back June, whatever we got back, the 15th, the 9th or something. Anyway, we still had, because we get over there, we still had TV. I thought, well, that's nice. But I called them today because I thought it was strange, and I was hopeful, but they said, oh no, because we haven't heard from the town of Pitkin, we're just leaving. We're sending the man we have contracted to decommission all this stuff and tear them down and replace whatever was there when they first put them in, so many years ago. We put Pitkin last on the list because we hadn't heard from him if you wanted to continue. No, Lake City's didn't want it, Powderhorn didn't want it. But if you want it, you can have like a dish network, like a home dish network thing. But we haven't, this is a quote, but we can't get Dish Network to call us back or send us any information about anything like this the whole time they've been doing this decommissioning for years. And so they would like to know right away if we want to take that over. Now, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than what MetRec had to do. I mean, it is, you know, this from the 1960s, these bouncing off of the antennas or whatever they're called. At the top of Monarch goes to Western, they bounce back and forth. And there was one up on Juanita, which it is already decommissioned. But from the winter that we have, what we've researched, and the meetings we went to, and then talking to them today, so far I'm of the opinion that we don't want to do this. But, and there are many alternatives. And if people, we don't watch much TV, but all we have is over the air. However, we have Starlink, so now we can switch over to Starlink. And I don't know if very many people in town that don't have access to internet. So it's rather simple to start streaming or whatever you call it on your TV from that. So my gut reaction, I'm not a techno person by any means, but from the research we've done this winter, the meetings and my talk today with Chelsea and also this Derek, I don't think this town wants to spend their money getting into the over-the-air television. That's my opinion.
I have one question, like, is any of that equipment or locations that we could use to get microwave signal from here to Gunnison so that we could have a good cell tower?
Right.
So all I can answer to that question is property that the tower is sitting on is town property.
How tall is the tower?
I wasn't about to crawl up on it, measure it. It's not a very tall tower. It's 100.
I'll wait and just say, my gut feels the same thing. It kind of feels like here the town of Pitkin can take it and they can deal with it. And I don't know that we have the budget nor the technical expertise to maintain antiquated equipment. And I really have no interest in taking it over, especially when you look at, if you're saying Lake City and Powder Horns also skipped on it, I guarantee for the same reasons.
And there are contracts that would be involved, like with Dish at least, but we wouldn't have the contacts with like Comets and I forget what other companies that MetRec has had through the years and has changed. Anyway, I can't imagine our town needing to be in control of providing free over-the-air TV service.
I think using our 911 phone system is way more important.
Yes, I think we have other more important things for the town to spend their money on.
This is Tom, and I do not know anything about antiquated equipment, keeping it together, holding it together. I might be able to put a new front door on something, but that would be the extent of it.
It's not very square. Yeah. All right, so I think we've heard from the board. Let's open it up to public comment. Anybody would like to comment on it, either in-house or on Zoom? Don't see anybody waving and I don't see anybody jumping up here. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I might add that the meetings that we went to at the MetRec, Jesse and I were always the only Pitkin people there. And we weren't there necessarily to protest, more to inform ourselves as well as.
I guess one of the things too is making decision doesn't just affect us. I know there's Court Creek property owners that do use over the air antennas as well. And I don't know if the town's really in the position to provide that, but maybe it's something in the future to be able to work with them if there's a way to, whatever it is to get signal from Gunnison to hear, whether it's cell service or it's 911 or it's television. But just in case there's anybody on the call that's listening, it's like I understand it affects more than just the town, but I don't think it's a good expenditure of funds to maintain this stuff, especially when we really, the only person I could think of that would have any realm of expertise of Bradwick, and I'm pretty sure he's retired. And probably does not want to dive into this.
They give the MetRec people, you can go on their website, they have suggestions, it's mostly, different internet providers, including Starlink. Or you can call the MetRec number and visit with them, and they will walk people through, other alternative sources.
All right, bring back any other comments from the board? Anybody want to make a motion one way or the other?
Mr. Weaver?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see. I will make the motion that we decline the transfer of the MetRec transponder to the town of Pitkin, which releases them to remove all of their equipment and restore the property.
I'll second that motion.
All right, got a
Oh.
vote.
A little discussion, just one sentence. They did tell me that when they had talked to the former clerk, Sarah, a few months ago, she couldn't find any contract here, and they have no contract. It's old. 50 years ago, I think they started this. So there is no contract in case somebody had a question about that. But they would like to hear yay or nay soon.
Okay. All right, so we've got a motion to decline the transfer of the transponder to the town of Pitkin. With a second, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, 6-11, discuss with possible action. A request from Schellenberg regarding the vacate 12th Street between blocks 2 and block 4, the alley block 4, the alley block 2, and Mason Street between block 3 and block 4 and block 2. So tonight really is a discussion about it. This would have to, if the board so chooses tonight, to set up a public hearing in July. That's what the discussion tonight will be about. So with that, I'm going to start, I guess, with Mr. Schellenberg. If you'd like to present anything on what he's doing, and what he can do.
Now you gotta do what you gotta do, get things done. So yeah, this is the property on the, I guess, on the top side of town. Over by the creek and up the mountain. That we've owned for a few years. And there's always a lot of conversation in the town of Pitkin that there's not much property left to build on and make improvements and to maybe grow the town. I believe the town, it operates similar to a business. You're either growing or you're dying. And if it's not evident, that I try to make sure Pitkin doesn't die for the next many generations when we've been sleeping in a cave. And this is just one other thing that I think could greatly improve the quality of Pitkin as far as enhancing this property, creating an environment for families to enjoy the beauty that Pitkin has with the improved infrastructure, greatly benefits the community through economic growth and development. And doing this, we could obviously do this to some degree without the vacations. It just doesn't turn out the quality of the lots isn't ideal at that point, so. You know, with the vacations, you can create some beautiful home sites where they all have creek frontage. They're all 3/4 of an acre, maybe a little bit more, and makes it very feasible for a well and septic installation. And you know, once it's developed, and the way we were gonna do it was, as it's developed, and you kind of create your very specific home sites, what you have in front of you is a pretty good idea of what the lots would look like, and this could get tweaked. And so the streets may not be exactly like you see it on here, or the right of ways, I was calling them right of ways. They could be given back to the town of Pitkin if they chose to maintain them, and they'd have that property back. It would be less property than what you're giving up. There's a massive amount of expense involved in developing these roads because of the mountain right there, and so that's why you see the so-called land swap not being identical or exact. It also helps create some cleaner lots for aesthetics. Homes are built on top of each other. You know, you've got some nice yards and creek frontage, and with this, at the most, there would be 7 homes on this property. 6 of those would be on the other side of the creek. I don't know what to call north, east, south, and west, but one build site would be on the Main Street side of the creek, with the remainders of the other 6 being across the creek.
Questions from the board?
I'm just wrapping my head on the survey compared to the lots Jake was drawing in here. Be the person who speaks, and I feel like I've done that every time. I'll go for it, Tom.
I said you would. No, I'm not dead set against this. I do have a few questions, and I'm sure that they will come up. For the vacation of streets, you know, I'm generally opposed to that, but given the topography of what we're dealing with here, Jake is correct. It would clean some things up, but then the introduction of new streets that, as you said, could be taken back over by the town, that creates question. And yeah, just in general, how things connect and how things work and how things look. And this just kind of, when did I get this? Friday, I think, and I looked at it. I couldn't print it off because my computer's empty, or I am. And So I don't particularly see any issues with this going to a public hearing. But I would like some more time to think about it, and that would happen. Is it okay if in the course of time ahead of this, a person would go over and take a physical look at this property?
Yeah, it's all flagged and surveyed, so you've got all the flags and everything. I don't see the town seeing my point of view on this. It makes a lot of common sense to me when you mention the streets, right? And he's like, oh, that raises some questions. I see a lot of value if the town said, okay, let's create what you might call a subdivision, if you want to call it that, with 7 homes. And you vacate the streets and let that subdivision maintain their own roads. What that does, yeah, you gave up that property for the roads, but every homeowner in there is paying property taxes on every square inch of that property. On top of that, the town's never responsible to maintain those right of ways. It would always fall on the homeowner association to do that. And so it wouldn't add any additional burdens on the town if a person did it that way. But you know, that mean you're vacating some streets and not getting anything back.
That's like Levita operates, right?
Levita's in the town, they're not part of it.
This is Jara.
Go ahead.
Well, this is not my forte. I am not versed in this at all. So is there a way to, like, developers or, I don't know, realtors that get, I just am not at all familiar with what is the best way to do anything like this. You know, like what do developers do as opposed to cities or towns? It's obviously surely done a lot. Something, I don't know what.
That goes both ways. Yeah. Some towns that a developer will go build a neighborhood, and then the neighborhood gives all the streets to the town, and then the town's responsible to maintain them. Then you have other towns where developers go and develop a property, and the town does not want the streets back because they know they'll have to maintain them. And you're talking even greater infrastructure, sewer systems and gas lines and all that. And if it's just the responsibility of the neighborhood, it eases the burden on the town. But this would be a pretty straightforward, simple little community, right? If you only have 7 sites. And who's to say someone doesn't come to us and say, well, I want to buy 2 lots and build 1 house. So you're saying at the most, you're going to end up with 7 homes, and there's a very real possibility you may only end up with 5. Because you've seen that around Pitkin, people buy up lots just so they don't have a neighbor. So
this is a neighborhood on town property where we collect the taxes that would not be maintaining snow removal and that kind of thing. Is that what that would be one option?
yeah, it'd be a private. Think of it as a gated community, and yeah, and those homeowners. Those homeowners.
Planned unit development.
Yeah, those homeowners would be responsible for snow removal if they need to fix their street, fixing the street. You see, I drew in here, a crossing on, it's pretty much in 12th Street, the way I drew it in there. They'd be responsible for putting in that, crossing with a bridge or a large culvert and maintaining that as well.
Okay, this is it. I've got several thoughts. Of course. So we're showing 7 lots. 6 of the lots primarily would access down the new easement or the replacement for Mason Street or 12th Street back up to State Street. But one of the initial concerns that I saw when I saw the survey the other day was I wasn't sure what the plan was for 12th Street. What I didn't want to see is lots 2 through 7 all be directed down River Trail. So the additional drawing you give us tonight is help clear that up for me. That we still, the lots 2 through 7 would still have access through 12th Street to State Street. And not all would have to go down River Trail. River Trail is only 15 feet wide. And if you took 6 property owners that all had to go down there, down River Trail, I think it's gonna be a burden on River Trail and River. This showing either a culvert or a bridge across 12th Street makes me feel better that the traffic could go to State Street. That, I know that property or that area on 12th Street is much more, let's say it's easier, it's gonna be easier to put a bridge or culvert in than 11th Street would be. I had real mixed feelings on vacating more property than what the town might get back, or the town might not get any back. But let me explain why I had mixed feelings on. One, I'm not a big proponent of just vacating streets and saying, okay, we're gonna vacate this, give it to the property owner. However, I know Mesa Street where it's platted is virtually worthless. Because it's gonna take an enormous amount of money and effort to make that usable. I don't know that the town would ever do it. So trading a larger section of Mason Street or even 12th Street for possibly getting a smaller amount back, I guess doesn't concern me as much or the value of what the streets are to the town right now. The other thing that I kind of like, if it's a small community and the town does vacate the streets, but yet it puts a street in similar to Mason Street narrower where he's showing it on this map in the middle of 12th Street, and that stays with the community, then the town doesn't have to maintain it. One of the concerns I guess I initially would have in the winter time is how does either the property owners or with the town do snow removal on that street where there's snow? That's somewhat of a, could be somewhat of a concern. But if it goes back to the property owners, that's not their own issue. What else have I jotted down? Another thing on the initial, when you brought this to the board last year, I think it was 11 homes. This is looking like as many as 7, so it's not as many. One of the questions I have down here that I've jotted down is what, if any, are your thoughts on the 11th Street? Doing anything with the town would need doing with 11th Street, or access to 12th would be in the new Mason or whatever you're going to call it, would be sufficient.
I don't think there would be any need to do anything with 11th unless the town wanted to do something with it. It doesn't, it's almost funny. You're dealing with a block. You know, and I always refer to Denver in one block, they've got 10,000 homes and 2 million cars, and you're sitting there trying to navigate that. You've got more than likely, let's say, 5 out of the 7 lots will probably be second homeowners who come 1 week a year to 1 or 2 months a year, and maybe you have 2 people that live there full time. So the impact on traffic, I don't think significant. You know, be private, you can go with a bridge similar to what we have in the other 2 locations at 5th and 6th, where they really aren't wide enough for 2 cars to pass each other safely. And it's not now never been an issue there, and it wouldn't be an issue here. You've got a 40-foot bridge, and someone's going to wait on someone to pass once or twice a year.
And I don't see a bridge or the culvert on 12th Street as a big issue. I mean, I see the culvert that's on Cumberland Road, and it can carry the water, and I think a culvert can carry here. I know going down to that big creek there is much more manageable than down 11th.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was anything. I had any thoughts on 11th Street, because that's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah, no, I wasn't thinking about that. The only other thing that you know, would take a little bit of ironing out, but there's always been a hiking trail across my private property from the campground over to River Trail. That's gone now because of some of the work we've done. And my goal is with this spot where I kind of have the road shown close to Mesa Street, that I would prefer to make that a public access point where people can continue to do that hike. And they just stay on that right of way easement, or whatever you want to call that, for that stretch of road there.
Jake, you're referring to the blue line there, like it's going to be essentially like New Mesa.
Yeah. It's just not as wide. I mean, I basically have it at 30 feet wide. You know, I think it's platted for 80. Can't read it.
Mesa, I believe is.
Mesa's 80, I think, and then or 12 to 66.
Mesa's 80.
I believe Mesa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Almost read it.
This is River Trail comes.
The River Trail. This is that part. This would have to tie into River Trail. Or you got any?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a lot to unpack in one meeting. A bunch of the concerns I would say were raised prior to the meeting may have been not quite founded in actuality. I guess the last couple of days, really ahead of the meeting, what I've heard just a lot of conjecture and hearsay about what's going on over there. So a lot of the concerns that were brought up may not necessarily, you know, maybe they're alleviated now, but like I said, I'm just trying to unpack it. It's kind of hard to think through everything right now. And I'd hate to kick the can down the road, but I'd like some time to kind of read through it and have some questions for you. But right now I'm kind of in limbo.
Well, I think, yeah, that's the process anyway, right? You guys would.
At minimum, we would decide tonight to hear it again next month with a public hearing. Or if board members feel like we need a little longer time to look at it. I'm gonna throw this out there, I know the town attorney sometimes when we're talking about variances. In the past was against us going and looking at the property, and I think this is critical enough that individually, if you would more than need to. Think look at the property when some. China.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of the things I was looking at, trying to understand on the drawing, just grades of the proposed roads. You know, which would play into whether the town had any interest in taking it back or not. And, yeah, I mean, I would hurt to actually put eyes on it individually. Kind of hard to make some of these decisions or come to any sort of conclusion looking at a topo map on a sheet, you know. And Jake, are the lots already currently flagged, like the proposed lots, are they flagged out over this?
No, this is, created once, I used All County Survey. Once, this is an idea. The town would basically say, we're in agreement, vacating the lots, with, clear lot markings for our approval. And so then once the town agrees to vacate them, then the surveyor comes back out, charges another $5,000 to come and flag all these individual lots. And then let's say the town doesn't like how some of the lots are set up, then he would have to come out again and we would have to redo it and redraw it. So there's a little bit of a process to make sure that everybody's happy with how it turns out, but this here makes quite a bit of sense. Like I said, putting this mesa, what the new mesa in would definitely be a challenge.
What is the board think? You want to go to July with a public hearing and hear from the public and more to discuss it? Do we have enough time between now and the July meeting? If individually you wanted to go up and take a look at the property?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea. I guess my question procedurally, if you have a public hearing in July, not all comments are gonna be, I'm in favor of it or I'm against it. Does the town have time to consider that, or with a public hearing scheduled, are we required to vote on it that day?
I don't believe that we're required to vote on that. I think it's a public hearing, we can listen to it and then weigh and then vote on it at a later date.
Okay.
It'd also be nice to have an attorney able to weigh in.
Would not argue with that.
Yeah, I would too. I just hate to throw roadblocks and kind of Jay go, we gotta wait on this or wait on the town and wait on the speed of government in some cases like this. I mean, even if the conclusion is go, yeah, we're gonna vacate the streets, I think having legal advice on how we proceed as a town is gonna be required either way. So now, yeah, I'd like some time to digest it, go look at it. As long as my understanding is if individually we go with Jay, there's no issue. So.
I think he's probably really looking forward to, finding out if the board is possibly in favor or 100% against it. Why spend more money on it if the whole board's against it? If it's something that's favorable to the town and to the contractor or to the owner, probably something to consider.
We need to make sure we can go, but in the past, there have been a few instances when the attorney said we couldn't go look at it, which I thought made no common sense. But there was something about, what was that?
It was primarily on variances where a town employee had to go look to see if what was on the drawing was accurate to what was actually on the
It
phone.
seems important to me with the lay of the land here, as opposed to what you see on here, that we should be able to go look. But I've smelled before, I really thought that didn't make any sense, that we couldn't go. Well.
So direction,
I think you're on the right track. Look at a July meeting, discuss further. Gather your thoughts on it, and I don't know if it's appropriate to say we're gonna set a public hearing, but. You know, the flip side is some of the people that I heard from were very enthusiastic with their thoughts, and I think they would probably want a chance to weigh in, so I know this has to come before a public hearing, so maybe not putting it on any further than it has to be. And that was my I just was wanting clarification that if we had a public hearing and you get a bunch of feedback and go, oh, I haven't considered that you did have time to digest it, you just weren't forced to make a yay or nay vote. So, but I would be in favor of discussing the July meeting, setting a public hearing.
I would concur with that.
I mean, Jake, is that a direction you wanna go in? So,
Yeah, public hearing in July, and then if there's something we're not ready to vote that day, then
okay,
Tom, are you? What are your thoughts?
I think, you guys have, pretty much laid it out in a way that I would agree with. This is the kind of thing that takes some time. Both to digest and to look at and to get back feedback and information on, and, I think maybe the July public hearing would be just fine, because it would seem like we would have more people to give feedback at that time of year than in the dead of winter. I think July is a good time to schedule a public hearing. And then Corey's point about, well, you know, then what we hear at the public hearing, we don't have to decide on right away, because there may be some more stuff we need to digest, some more questions we need to ask. So I'm good with that plan.
Like I say, in public, I'm good moving with that plan. I think it's good to hear from the public and public comments in a public hearing. And then we try to weigh all the info to determine what direction we should go. So with that, I'm reserving and not holding public comments tonight. We would like to hold them for the public hearing. So we can talk about it then when everybody's here. Unless someone's adamant if they want to say something. If it's getting late and we still have another meeting. So then with that, then I would entertain a motion some sort to go to July with a public hearing and hear more about this.
I'll make a motion to table further discussion until July. With the intent to set a public hearing. On the request from Jake.
With a public hearing in July.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Corey's made the motion.
This is Jerry, I'll second.
There is a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, now we're gonna move. Updates, planning and discussion. I put two items under updates, planning and discussion, so they're in front of us. We have before us the 2021 energy code. At minimum, that we will have to implement in June 1st of 2026. With that, and I didn't put it on here, but I added. The zoning board, the Board of Zoning Adjustments has been rewriting or modifying slightly, trying to clear up the zoning code for the town of Pitkin. almost thinking we might do those kind of in conjunction, because I think part of that zoning code, we've got to define if we're staying with the 97 building code, or if we want to move up to a later building code. And I'm just gonna say it real quick, is there's a little bit of a risk staying with 97, that the state could force us to go to a higher building code. And if after June 1st of next year, we go to a higher building code, we will be forced to go to the 2024 low carbon code if we change the building code after June 1st. I just want to throw it out there for people to be aware that when something the state is requiring, either 2021 energy code or 2024 low energy code by June 1st of 2026. If you do it before June 1st, you go 2021 energy code. If we say stick with 97 and the state comes out next year and says, look, you gotta go to 2015 or 18 on the building codes, it will not be pleasant, because we'll be forced to go to 2024 and low energy code. That is all electric. If you haven't looked that up, look up the 2024 Colorado low carbon energy code, and it will make you want to vote it. Never mind. And then the other thing for planning updates is the 2025 OWTS update. We just received an email from the state of Colorado last month that we have 1 year to update our OWTS to the Colorado standards. There's a couple things we're going to look at on what direction we go with that. But I of the opinion I'd rather start on this early rather than late. So I'm thinking sometime in the October timeframe to start looking at this, because both of these are going to require ordinances, which will require posting and public hearings before implementation, which could take either 60 days. So I think we need to be looking at probably October to start looking at it.
And it's my meetings are second Monday, third Monday. Let's target September.
Okay.
Third Monday of September is the 15th, midway through September.
I think those months that have the first Monday real early.
Yeah, the first Monday. Same attitude, I'd rather get started on it, just look at how slow things can move, and I don't wanna be, when people are gonna be in and out for vacation and visiting friends and family, you know how it gets around holidays, so
Okay.
I would rather start in September, let's start considering, so.
I'm not opposed to that. Jerry, you okay? Tom, you okay?
I'm okay, it's just I may not be here. It's okay, and it's okay to start.
Yeah, this isn't gonna be one and done.
No.
Okay, so that takes care of updates, planning, discussion. I'm gonna give you a real quick mayor report. Back at the first week of June, I went to the mayor manager meeting that's held at Western University in Gunnison. If you didn't know, they've got one beautiful football field now, where we held the meeting. A little bit disappointed in that meeting had the mayor from Mount Crested Butte, the city manager from Mount Crested Butte, the city manager from Gunnison, and myself. And then we had a whole lot of other people talk about other things that don't know was real important to mayors and managers, but they did. We heard from the school board, we heard from the Gunnison watershed district about possible drought conditions we might have. We heard from someone, I don't even know what, I don't recall what division she was from, but I will say I was very good, and I bit my tongue when she talked about what a great job MetRec is doing in putting up a new rec center in Gunnison and swimming pool in Crested Butte. So those people that use over the air for MetRec, that's where your money is from. With that, Pitkin gets to host the July mayor manager meeting, July 3rd. So I get to host that. My original intent was to hold the meeting here, but that's also in this building. That's also the same date that we have I think the PCPOA meeting is happening that day. So apparently the July 3rd date, we were either volunteered or voluntold, I don't know, but that's the date we get to hold it. So I made plans at this point to hold the mayor manager's meeting at Candy's Park. The number of the people that were at the meeting in Gunnison were very excited about Pitkin and hearing things that were happening in Pitkin. So I'm gonna do an outdoor meeting. I've also, as a backup, in case it happens to be raining that day, I've got a backup for the meeting at Town Hall. With that, I'm gonna ask our 3 businesses in town, between Summer's Lodge, the Grill, Stephanie at the Grill, and the Pitkin Hotel, if any one of the 3 would be interested in providing sandwiches for that meeting. The folks in Gunnison recommended that it be nothing more than cold cut sandwiches. That's what they had over there in St. Jim. So I have a very limited budget for this meeting. I'm expecting like 12 to 16 people at the moment. So I'll get with Stephanie and Corey and Bob and Pam and Jake to see if we can work something out to provide food from one of our restaurants. May not be what's on that. But that's coming up in July 3rd. So let's make the town look nice. I was really surprised and encouraged. I think it was Friday night. One of the individuals that was at the meeting was here at Pitkin and said he heard such good things about Pitkin, they had to come and experiment with town. So they said they were they couldn't believe what the town looked like. We had entered the hotel and then they were down at the Stillman's Lodge as well. So that's encouraging to get people from the outside in here. So that's all I've got on the mayor meeting. So if people will help me out on that, I greatly appreciate that. One last comment I'm going to make for mayor report is we did receive an email from Sarah before she resigned at the end of May that CERSA, and this is for commissioners, I'm just throwing it in here. CERSA requires that the commissioners keep track of their time spent for the different jobs. So I spoke briefly with Stacy. And I think what we're gonna do is when we have the commissioners send in their reports, give us just an estimation of the time they spent for whether ditches, streets, cemetery, whatever, town hall. Put that in the email to Stacy so she can keep track of it on a spreadsheet, but CERSA now requires that at the end of the year. And that's all I have for the mayor's report. But with that, don't jump up and leave. Once we adjourn this meeting, we will have a Board of Health meeting fairly. And Jesse's got something.
Stacy, did you not get my reports from the streets?
Yes, we have them.
I did.
We got-
Yeah.
It's all taken
Huh?
care of.
Well, I wanna add, I shredded as close to ditches as I could today. So anybody that has property, please borrow some city weed eaters and clean up your ditches in front of your properties.
We heard you today. Sound like you were mowing rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much appreciate that.
Very nice intent. It's knitted stick.
I
Okay,
didn't want to say I appreciate that. Yes, that's a lot. Too much.
no good. All right, so with that, I guess I'll take a motion to adjourn the regular town meeting.
This is here and I so moved.
All right, so we have a motion, I'll second that, if I could just find that. So, all in favor of adjournment of the regular meeting, say aye. Aye. Okay. So, welcome everybody to our Pitkin Board of Health meeting. Where did we just go? Just lost it.
You got the same problem I got. What is that thing?
I just had it. Yeah.
These meetings is not being
Okay, so welcome to our little Board of Health meeting. We actually have 3 bullet points on the agenda. I'm not sure if we're gonna do all 3 of them. We may table one of them. But to start off with, it was requested at the last meeting that we take the environmental health spreadsheet, try to clean it up, put it in something that a new environmental health agent could take and run with. So that's essentially what was done. The latest spreadsheet has all the most current property owners from the Gunnison County Assessment Site and their addresses. So with that, the first item is to review the LWTS inspections that were actually due in 2025. So one of the things that I found as we're going through the spreadsheet and Gayla's note, Gayla had sent us before she resigned a list of OWTS inspection letters that were sent out already April 1st. Just for clarification and being transparent, Stacy and I went over to the town hall and all of these 22, people that are on this list have letters in their file that they in fact received letters. However, when I went through the spreadsheet, just looking at the dates of the required inspections, there were 8 that were identified that did not receive letters. And we did, with Stacy's help, we went and pulled those 8 address files and there were no letters in them. So based on that, I would recommend on the one spreadsheet that I know that I sent to you, has 8 property owners that are due for inspection this year, 2025, and I can find no evidence that they received a letter. So I would recommend, I guess, that we draft a letter to send to these folks. We do, I think Stacy can get got a copy of the letter that was sent out to the other folks. So I would just ask for your thoughts on that.
Yeah, this is Tom, so folks, are due this year and, people need to be reminded, so let's get those out.
Yeah, I agree, just essence of time and giving people a fair shake to actually get the inspections done before the snow flies, is probably a good idea.
So so everyone's aware, it is written in our ordinance, of the Pitkin WTS ordinance, that the inspections are to be done by September 15th of the year. So, and that's spelled out in the law. I have no idea what that is. Okay, so would we like the town clerk to draft that letter and send it out since we don't have an environmental health agent at this point?
You got what, 8 of them now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
I would be happy to.
These will be sent certified. Well,
These are not certified.
okay, if we don't get a response, then we send it certified, brother.
If we don't get something by September 15th, if they've had an instruction, then certified letter would go out.
Okay.
So I guess since it's on there as discussed with possible action, I'll make the motion that we send the 8 letters out to those people that are due for the 2025 inspection. And I'll restate that as a town clerk, but it's in that words. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Someone write that down because I've lost my thing there. All right. Second bullet point is to review the OWTS inspection spreadsheet.
We're gonna take a vote on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting tired too. All right, so all in favor of sending out the letter, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Corey. Second item is review the OWTS inspection spreadsheet. There's a lot of notes and just to be clear, I took the notes that were on the handwritten notes that Gail had on her, plus any of the type notes, and just put those in. So if we could hold to a later date, if you'd like to talk about some more of these. I think as we talk about some of the notes, we may need some legal advice on some of them as we move forward. I don't think we're gonna do that tonight. However, there is one that was bold on a previous EHA spreadsheet. And that was the last one on the spreadsheet, where they were sent the inspection letter last year. And the inspection was not completed. It was last inspected in 2017 when I found in the file. The certified letter was sent in 2024. And then in 2025, a regular letter for inspection was sent as well. So it's a year overdue on the inspection. And from what I could see, the other inspections were due last year were all completed with the exception of this one. And I'm gonna leave it to the board on the action that we want to take with enforcing.
This is the tricky part, is not knowing legally what options we have. And, you could say, yep, you have the same time everybody else has. But I'm not gonna say anything in this one. Is it possible legally or ethically just have a conversation and say, hey, did you get those letters? I know you can say certified mail and I guess it was never returned.
There was a receipt in the file.
Okay.
It was signed. So
it was 100% receipt.
yeah, I have no doubt it was.
Okay.
Without an attorney, it's difficult to make any kind of decision. Is my opinion, because we do it when we do it now. But I don't know the legalities of it either, but gee, should have. Did we change the environmental health or the
Board of Health?
The Board of Health? I'm giving them a call.
You feel, the property owner?
Mm-hmm. Or you can wait for the attorney to get some advice. I guess there's no hurry at this point.
I mean, I don't have a problem. And calling the person, and just saying, and seeing where they stand on it. And maybe a little bit of encouragement with that, getting inspected and see where we're at. I don't, does anybody feel like that's out of line?
I don't. I think it's the easiest, earliest thing before the town goes, okay, we need action, like some sort of other action, whether it's legal or whatever.
I'll have to see if I can create a phone number with them. It's not on the county system. I
Might be unconventional, but a little bit of conversation sometimes helps a lot.
I have no issue with that, but I'd much rather be friendly than not. I will. I'll see if I can locate it from the point.
Okay.
That was actually the third bullet point.
Okay. Can I interject that a little bit? We were talking about inspections and under the assumption we're probably not gonna cover all of the, overdue or ones with issues tonight.
No, we're not.
I have a fraction of the list written down here. And then came the realization we're not gonna get this done. But I'm new to the board this go around. And I'd like to, it's an unconventional question. I'd like to ask everybody on the board, are we gonna take this serious? The OWTS regulations. I'm gonna say yes. I'd like the board to answer.
So,
Are we gonna take this serious? Are we gonna actually consider this is an actual ordinance that we're enforcing Reg 43? Are we willing to take this serious? I'm going to say yes.
We better. With when Reg 43 came in, everything changed, and I don't think it's even a question, we have to.
I know, this is just a yes or no question, because I wanna make sure we're all on the same board here, so to speak. This isn't a gotcha question, I'm just.
No, I understand that, and I don't want to be negative at all. I want to be positive. I think we should take it seriously. But I will tell you this, what we do will be done at a local level, because the state has not got the manpower to back us up at all. They have mandated what we should do, and then they expect us to pursue it. So I'm just telling you, that's how it is.
that,
Yeah, I mean, same thing.
absolutely, I would not have gone through all the work to put the spreadsheet together to identify any issues that we have in our WTS system if I wouldn't stand behind them 100%.
Okay, is the board willing to enforce our OWTS ordinance equally and equitably on everybody, regardless of who it is? And I'll lead off, I'll say yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Not a guy to Tom.
No, it's not. I've got very few people that I'm interested in. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. And are we willing to take the necessary steps, whether it's legal or not, to enforce said ordinance? And ensure that we're in compliance with Reg 43. I mean, sorry, legal action or not. Let's take action, it's not legal. Whether it's legal action or not.
Right. Well, so
Do we have as a board, have the board to say, okay, we have not gotten a response. This person has continued for years, whatever the situation. Does the board have the fortitude to go, okay, we will pursue legal action or not? And if we don't, then let's stop having these meetings.
Yes.
And I'm going to say yes.
well, I'm going to say yes. I don't know I've read the ordinance in a while. But if we need to tighten it up, then that's what we need to do. In regard, so we have our ordinances that our town, we have Reg 43, which is, the problem with Reg 43 is it's not a backup ordinance. No, it's not a backup rule. It's here going forward. And we need to keep that in mind. And Mr. Cusino, made that quite clear to me sometime about. This is because I questioned about that. You can't back up. It's from here forward, and at some point, all these old systems are going to cave in and die, and then they're going to have new systems, and we will finally get to it. And so,
I guess the only reason I'm asking is I'm new on the board, and this is the point to say, okay, yes, we're.
well, I'm excited just to hear these words out of your mouth.
Yes, we're serious. Yes, it doesn't matter who you are. And yes, we're gonna enforce the regulation, whether that considers legal action or not. And I just want the board to say it on the record, saying you're willing to do that or not.
We put me down here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say yes.
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 Thank you. That's all I wanted, is just on the record that this board is willing to do what it takes to enforce our OWTS ordinance. And if there's no gray area, it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how loud you complain, that we're willing to enforce the ordinance as written. That's all it is. So, sorry to interject. That's all I wanted to say.
That's perfectly fine. I think it's good clarification for everyone. I did look at the ordinance. In fact, I got it up in front of me for the town of Pitkin ordinance. We will definitely need legal advice, because there is nothing in the ordinance as to how we go about finding someone or something like that. But it's gonna need some tightening, so it may need some tightening up. But I guess when I read it before, I thought there was for that, but if I look this now, it's not.
And that's fine. I just want a statement of fact in front of everybody sitting here online that we're willing to actually do this, because this is one of those things for 11 years I've watched get enforced on some people and not on others. And this is an opportunity to set a precedent, say from here on out, we're willing to do it. And not make excuses, not say, oh, well, you know, you complained the loudest, you threw the most smoke in the air. Okay, if we have to go through and find the right people to understand an issue or a subject or a legal issue with subjects, then we're willing to do that. And I'm not trying to be negative or threatening, just, does the board have the fortitude to follow through on this? And I'm saying yes on this date.
I agree with that. Okay, so. Back on the agenda.
Yeah, sorry, it just goes along with the inspection.
It does, it absolutely does. So that middle bullet point, discuss with possible action, we do, some instruction spreadsheet. I'm gonna recommend we hold off on that. Because it'll give everybody on board a chance to review the spreadsheet and see some of the notes, and then we can set it, possibly if it's right meeting. And environmental health board to look at it. And I think we ought to need to look at those sooner rather than later. I will add something right here. But then Stacy and I went over to town hall and we looked at the files originally, I think we had covered this morning too. The files originally were identified by property owner's name. And someone, and I don't know if it was Naylor or whoever it was, fairly recently, went and redid all the files by property address. And even the inspection sheets that are in each folder are all in order by you. So they were very clean and ordered. Once we started looking at the street address. So that was really, really nice to see. So with that, I don't think we have anything else on the Board of Health. Then I'll entertain a motion.
Wait. We don't have an EHA person.
That's correct.
We're gonna advertise for one. Or are we just gonna take it over and do it?
So we've had it posted, at least in the post office.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
It's been at the post office for quite some time now, as well as our own board member.
Okay.
But that you might be bringing up those points.
Nothing else to that.
Do we want to advertise that in the newspaper?
Will it pay anything?
No.
Oh.
That's for that. Good job.
I will tell you it ebbs and flows, and spurts and goes.
Will it give you the legal authorization to trespass on people's property?
No.
Yeah.
But I think it does.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I'm gonna entertain a motion. To adjourn this Board of Health meeting, once you have something.
This is Tom, and I make a motion that we adjourn this Board of Health meeting.
This is Jeremy, second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Thank you, everyone, for your patience.
Well, I think that, just by way of information, I think that's in Reg 43, that permission thing. I don't think it has.
I think you have permission to go